Hello again, Year 10. We're continuing with our physical landscapes unit, but we're moving into the subsection that is about coasts. So you will see a little bit of repetition when it comes to discussion about geology, something that you should be familiar with. I make no apologies for repeating some of the key words that we've already encountered in this unit, but as usual, just make sure that you're completing everything on this week's checklist and then uploading the tasks to Satchel 1. Now, unlike last week's checklist, we need you to upload each of the tasks on the checklist to Satchel 1, so please don't miss anything out. Okay, so we're starting off with an image that you would have seen in the lower school. I'm not going to say the name of the place, but I've just put a hint there. So this is a community that's actually on the east coast of England, adjacent or next to the North Sea, and you have to suggest if it would be at A, B or C. Now it should be quite straightforward because I've told you the region that it's in, so it should be okay. But I have said explain your answer, so you need to use your prior learning about the geology of the UK to explain why you have chosen either A, B or C. Now, in the first lesson in physical landscapes, I said it is a very good idea for you to create a document or have a notebook where you are creating a glossary of keywords, as you would do if we were physically at school. You will see quite a few keywords in this lesson, so please make sure you write them down. Now, I've got another video to support you about the 3 types of rock. I'm not sure if we've shown this to you in previous units, but this one is probably a little bit cooler than the stuff that we usually show you. So click that link and cover the 3 types of rock in a way that's probably a little bit more accessible to you. We have 2 keywords again. They are not new to you, but hard rock and soft rock coasts, and we've given you some examples. Now we've got these 2 new keywords, and we actually want you to create your own definitions for concordant and discordant coastlines before you continue on to the next slides. So you'll notice that for concordant coastlines, okay, the strata or the layers or bands of rock, they're parallel to the direction of the coastline. On the discordant coastline, those bands of rock, those layers of rock, are perpendicular to the direction of the coast. So they're at right angles. So we've given you quite a few hints there. Please write a definition for concordant and discordant coastlines in your own words. If you're really serious, what you might do is also give some examples of where we can find those types of coastline. Okay, there is a map there to help you as well. Okay, so we just asked you to make some notes as usual about discordant coastlines. Okay, it is a lot easier than it looks. Just make sure you're reading the information super carefully. Once you get a grip of what we mean by concordance or discordance, you'll be able to understand why there's different rates of erosion and different landforms at different areas of coastline around the British Isles. Now, I've just put a quick note here across the work you're about to do, just saying that it's only possible for what you're about to see to happen in headlands because there are joints and faults. So these are different areas of weakness created in the structure of the headland. So this means that any process of erosion is able to happen a lot more easily because there is a weakness there that can be exploited. Okay, so what we have here is a headland that has undergone several processes, and this in itself has created lots of new types of landform. Okay, so it really makes the landscape look really different. What you need to do is to copy this out. You can either do this by hand on a blank page, or you can paste this image into maybe a Word document or on a PowerPoint slide. Now, this is step by step. What you're going to do is to either write the correct labels, so those labels at the bottom in the yellowish boxes, and make sure you kind of attribute them to either A, B, C, D or E, or you can actually drag them. If you're using the PowerPoint in its basic form, you can just actually drag these onto a new slide and label them to the correct places. With A, so the first part, we do have, I'm just going to give you a little bit of help, we have a large crack created by hydraulic action. And hydraulic action, along with the three other processes of erosion, you need to get super comfortable with, because you will need to know those processes for both coasts and river processes, which is coming up after your coasts lessons. Okay, so please make sure that you do that in the correct order, the A, B, C, D or E. Now we do look at a concordant coastline in a bit more detail, because in the past we found that students have maybe found this a little bit more difficult to understand. So I've asked you to go to page 123 in the textbook, which I will include on the next slide in the PowerPoint, and I've also made sure it is uploaded to Satchel 1 for you. And you're going to look at the formation of a concordant landform called a cove, and you're going to look at Lulworth Cove in the UK. Take it step by step. Make sure you have really read the information carefully. There's a very detailed annotated photograph that the textbook has used to help you understand this fully. Now, I did say it was super important for you to get really familiar with those 4 processes of erosion. They are throughout Unit 4 in your EdXLB specification. So what I've asked you to do here is to describe each of these processes in full sentences. Now, we often have people confusing abrasion and attrition. They are not the same thing. Please make sure you recap that knowledge. Go back into your previous work if you have to. Use your revision guide, use bite size, but make sure you are confident with your understanding of these 4 processes. The last thing that you have to do in this week's learning is, of course, a practice exam question. It's just 4 marks, but here's the tricky part. Now, usually, particularly in paper 1, if there is a 4 marker, you would expect it to be 2 well-developed points, so 2 plus 2 marks. It's a little bit different. In paper 2, which is what we're focusing on now, component 2, you need to explain the formation, for example, of a coastal landform, and you have to do this in 4 clear steps. So don't let that trip you up. Make sure it's clear. 4 clear steps. Go back in your learning from this lesson. No harm in that. There's no cheating going on. And just prepare by making some brief notes. As usual, we say give yourself allowance for about 1 mark per minute. So between 4 and 5 minutes at this stage. Okay? As you get better at responding to this type of question, you will get faster and faster. But I do believe the trick is to quickly make some notes so you know what on earth you are going to talk about. Now, as usual, we ask that you upload your completed activities to Satchel 1. Make sure as well any work from previous lessons that is still needing to be uploaded is also done. Please do this before the deadline set by your Year 10 Geography teacher. Of course, any questions, contact your geography teacher via email and we will get back to you. We wish you the best of luck with this week's lesson. Take care.